All right, so I'm here with Defcamp. Let's talk Karas. How did you
Hey
find
guys,
it? And actually, how did you do
incredibly,
it? Yeah,
yeah.
first off,
So we,
yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, yeah. So we did it with Crix's group first, and we
Mm-hmm.
went kind of, we went really like really heavy range. So we had 4 warlocks, 1 hunter, 1 Ellie shaman, 1 priest, 1 resto shaman, 1 prot pally, 1 prot warrior, and we killed bosses in like matter of, it felt like 30 seconds or so. It was I mean, everyone was pumping over a K, 1K, 1.2K DPS on each boss, right? So it was everyone got like all their rep. They got the best gear they could, all the enchants, everything like that. So it's better gear than I think we have right now, even in the beta. But still, it felt
Yeah.
like we two healed everything. There were bosses that could easily one healed, like a Tumen easily one healed. A couple other bosses that were easily one healed. We did Curator the first time with Crix's group and Cargos and all them, and that was the hard version with the I think it was like 3
Yeah, the
sparks.
free sparks at the same time. That
Yeah,
was kind of annoying.
we wiped twice on that. The only bosses we wiped on I think were that and Nightbane. But after a couple wipes, we came back and did it no problem. So, and then I did it with my guild after that, and that was when Curator was fixed, and we still I mean, for most of the people in my guild had never been through Cower before, or if they did, it was 15 years ago,
Yeah.
and we went through it in like an hour. So
Oh, an hour that
yeah,
quickly? Really?
a little over an hour, I think, a little over an hour.
Yeah,
Um,
it took my guild. Like I was playing with my former guild Resist. I played it on private server. I think half of the roster had actually played on private server, half had not, and I think
right.
it took us like 2 hours or so, give or take.
Yeah, I think it was probably about an hour and a half, but I had just run it with the other guys, and
Mm-hmm.
I knew how every fight was, the strats and everything like that, and I just
Yep.
said, hey, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and it was pretty
Yeah.
easy. But it was funny because me and Melvin were thinking about you, and we kept on going back to like Costin said, like Cowers should be easier than heroics, and they definitely are, right? I feel like the heroics
Yep.
are
Yep.
much harder
Well,
than Cower.
the interesting thing is, like, I think, like, I ran it with the guild and I ran it to the pug, and I can tell you the pug, and most people in the pug didn't have experience. People were not used to TBC at all. Like, my healers ran over healing on Print, for instance,
Yeah,
as an example. So that's actually why we wiped in the pug. I didn't tank in the main raid I was doing, because that's what has been going in Resist. We played it safe, but then in the pug I
gotcha.
tanked pretty much everything. We didn't do Nightbane, we didn't do Netherspite, we didn't do Prince. But like from my perspective, I would say the following. I think the damage that mobs are doing and the abilities that they're using are fine, right?
Yes, yep,
The damage that's in play, yes, we can free heal it. We can two heal it, but I think the only reason we got away with like two healing it is because we were just killing things so fast that mana
exactly.
was not really becoming an issue for like our guild runs. But then in
Yes,
a pug, it did become an issue, and I think like. And keep in mind, like as you said, like the gear we have right now is good. And in fact, like for me as a tank, this is very close to pre-raid best slot. The only thing I'm missing, basically, in the character, the only thing that I'm really feeling that I'm missing, is like a pant enchant and maybe a trinket. But that's just an alternative. Like otherwise, the gear is really good.
right.
So,
Yeah,
so this is not like the gear we have right now in the beta on the template characters is not gear you would get week one. Most of it you could if you push the real hard, but not all of it, right? And you certainly wouldn't
right.
get like blue quality gems on every slot, mongoose enchant, and all that kind of stuff. So it's not going to be easy, I feel, week one for pugs or for
Exactly.
weaker guilds.
Yeah.
Like people who know what they're doing, I think they'll smash through it with relative ease, but a lot of people will probably struggle with it week one.
Yeah, I gotta think because like even the guild. So the first run we did, we easily two healed it because it was myself and another healer M, and we're both relatively really good healers. And then in the second group, I had egregious healing with me. I don't know if you know egregious is. He was like he's like one of the best resto shamans like from classic
Mm-hmm.
WoW and for private server. So I had
Yeah.
two. I had really good healers with me both times.
Yeah.
The thing is that priest is actually kind of broken right now,
Mana.
in a bad way. So you can't circle of heal outside of your group.
Oh, so yeah, that's kind of something that ruins your.
Yeah, so that's broken. And the other annoying part is I couldn't prayer of fortitude or prayer of shadow protection in other groups, so that was just really annoying.
Yeah.
So only being able to circle of heal my group, I thought, this is going to be bad, and I was easily still doing like 60 to 70% heals on some pulls on some fights, and then Egregious was doing like we were both pretty much neck and neck with healing done, and we put ourselves in a group with a Shadow Priest and with Manatide Totem, and with using drums and and Bloodlust and everything like that. Like I think we really didn't go on any fight just because how fast we were killing everything.
Yeah, we didn't have a Manatide, and I think for Karazhan, if you're gonna heal at week 1, you probably want to have either Shadow Priest or Manatide, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
We had the Resto Druid, he had the Nerve It, but I actually needed that to Nerve It myself as a prop paladin when I was pugging Prince Malchezaar, because like phase 1 just hits for so little, you run I mean, I guess I could have told my DPSers to hold back and just have the Innervate for the Druid, but yeah.
You're breaking up a little bit. I don't know if I'm...
yeah, give me a second. I'm going to lower my voice activity threshold. Just a second. So yeah, my issue was, like, my issue is, like, Prince can hit really hard. Like, he did...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he did, like, I know, 10k. Like, he pretty much one-shot me, or did a combination of melee attacks in like 1.7 seconds that brought me down. Now, in that case, I didn't have Demo Shout or Thunderclap because the warrior had let them drop off, but it's like, the damage is high. I feel like...
The damage was high, yes. Yeah. And there was another boss with damage really high. I'm trying to remember what it was. Was it Curator or...
Curator hits hard when he goes into the last phase. Nightbane kind of hits hard.
Nightbane hit hard, yeah. Oh, yeah, we had to have our... So... We had in the second group, we had a prop pally. In the first group, Abide was stacking. He pretty much main tacked everything. But in the second group, we had a prop pally pretty much stacking everything. And the one fight she was having issues with was Nightbane.
Yeah.
And that's just, Nightbane hits really hard. But then we had a warrior tanking, and it was a little bit better. But I noticed a lot of the trash too. The mobs right before Prince, those guys hit really hard as well. And we had our tank die a couple times on there.
I just think right now it's like the HP of things is way too low. I think that's something Blizzard should look at. Like I'm not saying that the difficulty needs to be increased, but like if you just increase the HP so that people can kill bosses in like 30 seconds, as you said, I think that the difficulty would ramp up much higher. Like how it would be actually like on par easily with heroics, or even potentially more difficult right now. Then at least some of the heroics we've done, maybe not Durnhold heroic level, but it would be pretty high difficulty wise. And I mean that's kind of the thing. Like it's just a question. Like we have really good gear right now available in the beta. We have enchants, we have gems, we have full consumables. And how much of that are we gonna have like when Classic comes out? Right. So
yeah, we had full consumables. Everyone had drums. I don't think everyone's gonna have drums in Classic. I doubt it. Also, like. We had, like I said, the comp that we did the first time was like the God comp, right? We had 4 Warlocks, 100 and Ellie Shaman. I doubt everyone's going to have that comp, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's
that as well, yeah.
I mean, I would say Karazhan does need to be taken seriously, but it's very easy for people that do take it seriously to just smash it. But like...
Yeah, the cool thing is after I got done, I was like, let me watch some people, and I was watching some people that are in much more casual guilds. And they were wiping like 5-6 times on Prince, and it was like their first, like that's how it should be. Their first time in there, trying to get they for whatever reason they had 4 healers, and I was like, oh man, it's taking them really long to kill Prince, and they had to go in there and they dropped the healer and they went more deep, and I think that's how a lot of people's first experience are going to be. I have to really go in there and say how much of it is us knowing the fights, us being, friggin' no-lifers and just, going in there with the best comp, stuff like that.
Yeah.
The average player, I think, is going to have a little bit of a, and it's Karazhan. It shouldn't be the hardest time, but they should have a little bit of a rough time. But,
I mean, Karazhan was cleared in its entirety by the top guilds in the first 2 weeks, so on retail. So it's like, it never was a hard raid. I mean, I kind of want to see Gruul and Mag. I really want to see Mag, because for me, the litmus test in terms of difficulty won't be Gruul or Kara. I think Kara damage is fine. I think things are dying too fast. I think that's something they should look at. But for me, the real test will be, to an extent, Gruul in terms of how fast he's gonna die, and really McFerrin how fast things are gonna die right there. But like right now, yeah, it was a cakewalk. I feel for a well-organized group, not so much for a pug and all that where people don't know what they're doing. So for the average player, yeah, it's not gonna be like, oh, we're just gonna go in Karazhan with a bad group comp. We're gonna bring like 4 warriors, 2 rogues, something like that. And we're gonna clear it easy, right? That's not gonna happen. Now, not for the first couple of weeks, but after that, yeah, gonna be pretty easy. I found personally, as a prop paladin, I could tank pretty much every boss that I tried to tank. The issue is for prop paladins is that not having demo shot thunderclap is just like a big deal, and you also need to gem for it. So it's like that's one of the things. Like I kind of wanted to, like, Prow Warrior is what it is, right? We know what Prow Warriors will do. I was kind of curious though to see a Feral Druid and to see how they did. That was kind of my curiosity. Because
it's so weird, man. I have seen, we were talking about this earlier. There is such a lack of druids on the beta and on tonight. It's like I have just it's like there's been no druids around, and even for testing, I thought like there'll be some druids. Haven't seen any druids. Haven't even seen resto druids. I thought TBC is like a lot more people are gonna be rolling druid, but it seemed like a lot of people just aren't playing druid. So
the druid shortage. Well, from what people told me, the feral gear is actually crap on the template, and Blizzard has not fixed that. So that might be a factor. I saw a resto druid, but yeah, I mean, let's lay this down. Blizzard handled this whole Kara testing thing, to say horribly, I think is an understatement. Like one of the things, like when the server launched, the fact that the gear was like, oh, I'm a paladin, what do I get? I get the dungeon set with red gear. It's like, okay, I can't heal DPS or tank in this gear, Blizzard. Thank you. And so bad. That was so bad. And then as I was like getting pissed off about it, and other people I was in chat in my Discord getting pissed off about and losing their minds over it, because like, how can you screw this up? Like literally, it's like, do you not have access to any pre-raid bids? Because like I would have taken the gear from the pre-raid bids, as inaccurate as many of those lists can be, and they are. I would have taken that any day. But no, it's like, let's run around. The best part for me personally actually was this. Was while I was figuring this out, as someone mentioned in my chat, oh, you don't have the Kara key. And like I checked my inventory, it's like, we don't have the Kara key, so we can't actually open the doors, even though we can enter Kara. When they opened it, we couldn't. You can't.
I know. They should just put the key on one of the vendors or something,
Yeah, I'm like Blizzard. It's like, how do you screw this up? It's like, what level are we talking about? Like, I don't think it's unreasonable. Like, I might have been a bit very toxic. Like, I literally lost my mind when I literally walked to Karazhan to see if I could enter before they opened the test. It's like, no, you couldn't. And I was like, I was cursing out of my mind there. But like despite losing my calm, I'm like, Blizzard, this is not complicated. I really don't think. I really don't think it's much to ask for.
The other thing is too is that they gave us the rep, but then why not just put all the rep vendor gear like right in chat rep as well? So people have to fly to all the different rep vendors, Thramar, CE to get the gear. So I had to go to Sinnelleos Expedition to get the mace. I had to go to I had to take the port to Cowards of Time to get my bracers. And I was like, why not just put all the rep vendor gear right on those guys as well? So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what they were thinking, because like at least they expanded the time to 24 hours because if it was only 6 hours, people would have went nuts because obviously it's going to take a lot more. It took us like an hour just to get ready, a good hour just to get everything set up.
Yeah, it took us a while to get set up to sort the gear, and it's really annoying because they still kept updating the templates. They still have been updating the templates. Like they've changed the Paladin template a bit for instance, certain gearing. They fixed their Ogrel rep. So the thing is, initially when they created when we could create Paladins, like as it launched, we had the Shadow Labyrinth shield, right? Oh, fine. But then they changed it to the Ogrel reputation shield, and guess what? You can't use that unless you have a reputation level with Ogrel. I'm like, and that still was an issue for a long time. Thankfully, you could get Exalted Shatar when they allowed those vendors. So I just used the Shatar shield. I've been tanking with that, no problems whatsoever. But yeah, I mean.
I just realized they added more template for priest too. So I just made a new priest to mess around with Shadow, and they added more healing gear for the priest. So before, like the last time I did it, they just added Shadow gear. Now there's more healing gear, but whatever. I'm not
Yeah,
making another one.
how hard could this have been? It's like, who is working on this beta? How many people are working on this beta? Like, what the hell happened, Blizzard?
Yeah, I think they, I don't know. I don't know if they had like the initial thought, like, hey, we're just gonna like make people go in like crap gear, and then but it almost seems like they just. I remember when they did something like this before, and they gave like okay, like look at the boost gear, right? The boost gear is like literally a hodgepodge of gear, and like thinking like were they thinking like that? They're just gonna give a hodgepodge of gear, and then there's like they totally just changed their mind and said nope, we're gonna make everyone get certain set piece gear, and it seemed like there was like 10 different people like no, I got an idea. Oh no, wait, I got an idea, and they just all put everyone's idea like in there. And just,
I'm happy with. I gotta admit that I will give Blizzard credit for one thing, that when they did fix the paladin gearing, they gave prop paladins actually good gear, right? Not everything we necessarily actually use, and some of this is ridiculously strong, and you wouldn't actually get to like the Manatom's heroic ring. Yeah, I'm not doing Manatom's heroic before entering Karazhan. I can say that for a fact.
No,
but most of it is like the thing is most of the gear was one realistic to get. Most of it, right? You could actually get it before stepping into Karazhan, and the second thing is there were reasonable pieces, like actually good pieces, like. This was very close to my pre-raid best in slot. And in fact, there were some choices like a trinket, the defense trinket, because you get to like a last time trinket. That's really good. But then the warrior setup, because I tried making a warrior, the warrior gear is like awful. Like,
yeah, I saw someone tell me the warrior gear was like really bad.
Yeah, so I think though, the fact that we're still in a beta, like this is the thing though, I would kind of come back to, like the fact we're in a beta, we don't have really many working add-ons, right? And we have bugs like your healing issue, other issues. There's plenty of bugs and glitches, and still the fact that we can clear most of Karazhan even in pugs, if not all of Karazhan even in pugs, with people not knowing what they're doing, without too much effort. I think it's like it's too easy. Like I don't know how much you'd want to buff it. Maybe a 50% buff to HP or something like that. Maybe less.
Yeah, I would just do HP, like you said. I wouldn't like. I think. Curator with like we killed the curator with the extra orbs, but that was kind of ridiculous. It was a little too crazy. So like stuff like that, I'm sure, but like just adding a little bit of HP, especially knowing how much. I mean, look, like we were in people are going to be in that kind of gear in like relatively good gear like that relatively quickly. So I think buffing the HP of the mobs by a little bit. I don't think that's too much to ask. And like I remember doing Karazhan. Last time I did it was on Warmane, and I remember the bosses having at least lasting a little bit longer. What was your impression from this based on?
Compared to private server, this was really fast. But it was the thing is when I was looking at the HP values on the WoW Wiki, I'm not quite sure if they are the same HP values as on WoW Wiki. Or Wowpedia or all that. Like Prince Malkazar had like what, 1 million? Let me actually just check that very quick. But like I was doing the DPS calculations, and I was doing DPS calculations when I was still playing on private servers, and one of the things that kind of like I realized, like Illidan has like 5 million HP, and I was thinking to myself, okay, how many minutes is it gonna take to kill Illidan if like you were doing 20k raid DPS and all that kind of stuff? So the bosses dying this quickly was not in any way, shape, or form surprising given the numbers that we've seen people able to do. Like on private servers, even towards the end of retail with Sunwell Plateau, like people like the way people were optimizing their DPS regardless of gear, like the DPS levels that people were reaching even on retail was much higher than at the start, right? So people didn't know what the hell they were. We didn't know what the hell they were doing. But this is the point. But perhaps this is the point. Karazhan was never a hard raid. This is the thing. Like Burn Crusade, hard expansion, hard raids, TK trash, SSC, all that kind of stuff. Karazhan, some hard shit. The Prince trash, Nightbane, Prince. And these, like, I would still say Prince and Nightbane are still decently challenging, even if they die very quickly, right?
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so like from my perspective, I don't necessarily think it's unreasonable to have it on this difficulty level, but I also think that if this is all we're gonna have to deal with for months until they decide to release tier 5 because of that decision to delay tier 5, I think that's gonna be horrible. Like if it's even if McFerrin and Gruul end up being challenging, I think this is not gonna be a fun experience. But I don't know. I've had a lot of fun doing the dungeons, the normal dungeons.
Me too, dude.
Yeah.
The heroics and like that's what I was saying. Like I was saying earlier, like some people are like, oh yeah, this is easy. I'm like, it's Karazhan. It's not supposed to be insanely difficult. It's it's the first raid and most everyone does. I think like I really want to see what Gruul's and Mags is like. I think people are gonna have I think even I think like people are gonna the first boss in Gruul's. I think people are even gonna have some issues there with like the mage stacking and stuff like that. But people that know what they're doing are gonna be able to do it. But I think with heroics being the way they are, I like that. I mean, like the Kara attunement literally takes a day to do, right? It takes longer to get attuned to the heroics, stuff like that.
It takes days,
exactly.
Really. Yeah. So like with Karazhan attunement, like even for me on retail, because I got to 70 in 2 days I was attuned, right? And I didn't like rush attunement. I actually did other things, quested, got some reps and all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
Like the second day after 70, I was pretty much attuned to Kara. It was never it was never an issue to get attuned. It was never. And then I went to Kara and like I had pieces of green gear. I had barely just 10k HP fully buffed as a paladin on my first Karazhan. I had green gear. I barely had defense cap, and it's like we did pretty much everything. I did personally everything until Curator with that kind of crap gear. So it's like, I think like Karazhan, the first part very easy, but that's how it's supposed to be. The second part is where the challenge is in a sense. But yeah, some things are, but because we're doing so much damage, everything is like just complete. Like Iran, for instance, was a joke.
Exactly, it was. Yeah.
So I think I think that's those.
What do you think about the badges dropping off of the?
No.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't like that either.
Oh, okay. So this is one of the things I would say about like heroics being difficult. No one fucking doing them. Like, why would you do them? Because like, what gear pieces do you need from badges from the heroic dungeons that you can't get from Karazhan, right? If Karazhan is easier, mostly easier. There are a couple of items, like for instance, as a paladin, I want the Aconite Crypt heroic shoulders until I get tier 4. But that's the thing. If I get tier 4, I don't give a crap about that. Basically, that's kind of the problem. Like,
I want to be incentivized to want to do heroics. And if you're getting badges, and you get a lot of badges from one Kara run, right? Yeah. Obviously, you can only do one Kara run a week, but one Kara run a week. But one Kara run a week.
Yeah.
But I didn't. It was like you get like 2 badges per boss, and that's a lot of badges, man. Like I want to be incentivized to do heroics, and I want to be doing heroics for a long time. And by initially getting badges in Kara, it's
it's killing one of the incentives because people do need like the only reasons people actually need heroics is this rep to get exalted with a few factions. Maybe 1 or 2 items from the easier ones, especially like slave pens, for instance. People want the trinket. A couple of other things, right, that you don't actually have a replacement for in Karazhan. Like you don't really have a replacement for Quack's Eye, for instance.
Right.
So reputation to exalted, those kind of items, badges of justice and primal nethers. But if you remove if you give people badges of justice from Karazhan, they're gonna get them from Karazhan. They're not gonna care about heroics. Like a lot of people need the trinkets from badges of justice or the rings, the cloaks, necks, all that. So you take away badges of justice as being a heroic exclusive thing early on. Then it just makes it less like I already feel that there's less incentive to do many heroics. Like who would want to do a Durnhold heroic until like they're full tier 4, right? For instance.
I know, dude. I know.
That's the kind of thing. Like that's the problem with having Karazhan easy and heroics hard is that's the kind of incentive structure you create. But that's pretty much it from my point of view. And thanks for
I mean that's I mean there's not too much to go over. I really want to go over tomorrow though after we do rules and see how that was and all, but
yeah, I'm gonna maybe give Kara another go today because it's today for me. But we'll see.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I did 2 runs, and it was like the first run was we got done relatively quickly. I think we didn't get started until like 40 minutes after everyone else was in, but we got done like on the same time as like all the other raids were finishing. The first raids were finishing, so we actually did pretty good time wise. And then the second run we just took our time. It was a little more chill, but we still managed to go in like an hour and a half or so. And I mean I had a lot of fun, right? That's the thing for to me, Karazhan's a lot of fun. I love the ambience. I love the music. I got Life's Justice off Prince. I was really happy about that, even though I'll probably, whatever, who knows.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so it was fun. All in all, it did feel very easy, but I think that's the way it's supposed to do it. I think if they take the badges away, maybe give the bosses a little more health. I think that's what I would do personally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the chat, mate.
Yeah, no problem, brother.